There is a way people might talk about the world as a dream, an illusion, a simulation. The metaphor doesn't matter that much. What matters is this. In this world, we usually don't experience ourselves as who we actually are. We play a role. We could call it a game. And like any game, you immerse yourself into this experience only if you forget yourself. If you remember who you are too clearly, the whole thing collapses. So we forget. We fall asleep into the character, into the body, into the story. Most people never wake up from that sleep. And that's not a mistake, it's just how the game is designed. But at some point, for some people, something shifts. Not loudly, not dramatically, more like a quiet sense that the game isn't satisfying anymore. The rewards don't feel rewarding, the rules stop making sense, and what once felt meaningful suddenly feels thin. That's usually when the call appears. It doesn't announce itself as spirituality or awakening or truth. It often shows up as discomfort, as loss of meaning, as a strange inner pressure that says something here is no longer aligned. Following it can feel terrifying because it often feels like death. Not physical death, but the death of the life you thought you were supposed to live, as identity you worked so hard to build, in future you imagined. Many people turn away at that point. They try to go back, to distract themselves, to make the game enjoyable again. Some don't. And when they don't turn away, life has a way of dismantling the structure around them. Things just start falling apart, sometimes gently, sometimes brutally. Careers lose meaning, relationships end, status, money, plans, roles, even the body itself can become part of the process. What's being taken away isn't random. It's everything you used to lean on to know who you are. And when there's nothing left to hold on to outside, attention turns inward. That's when the real work begins. This part is rarely visible. There are no witnesses, no applause. It's just you alone with your fears, your patterns, your defenses, your inner voices. The ones that insist you are this personality, this history, this story, until at some point that structure collapses, not beautifully, not peacefully, but irreversibly. And what becomes clear then is simple and unsettling. You were never the character. What you are was watching the entire time. And in that recognition, something else appears, not as a vision, not as a belief, but as a direct knowing. The sense of intelligence behind the game itself. After that, you may return to ordinary life. Most people do, but you never return the same. Something fundamental shifts. Awakening doesn't give you something new. It removes what was never true. What remains isn't special, it's familiar. It's the recognition that everything, bodies, thoughts, matter, energy, arises from the same source, the same field, the same consciousness. People give it many names: God, Source, the Absolute. The name doesn't matter. What matters is the recognition that there is only one reality expressing itself through countless forms, including you. Enlightenment isn't an experience you have. It's when the question of who you are stops being abstract. A lot of people imagine awakening as a peak state, permanent peace, permanent clarity, permanent bliss. That fantasy creates a lot of confusion, because awakening isn't an end point, it's a beginning. It's the start of learning how to live from a deeper level of awareness while still being human, still having emotions, still having limits, still being here. And this is where things often get strange, because after awakening, life doesn't suddenly make sense. Sometimes it makes less sense than before. This often manifests itself in the following. Number 1, emptiness. At first, you might experience an insight, a relief, even euphoria, and then nothing, a flatness, a silence, a sense that meaning has drained out of everything. This can feel like something went wrong, like awakening was a mistake. It isn't. This emptiness is a transition space. The old identity has dissolved, but the deeper self hasn't fully embodied yet. Nothing feels solid because nothing is meant to be. There is nothing to fix here, nothing to achieve. The only task is to stay present without reaching for something to fill the gap. Number 2, losing the person you used to be. You might wake up one day and realize you don't recognize yourself anymore. The things that motivated you no longer do. Your old ambitions feel foreign. Even your personality feels optional. This can be deeply unsettling. The world still expects you to be who you were, and you don't know what to replace that with. But nothing has gone wrong. What's happening is a shedding, an old skin coming off. The new form takes time. Number 3, heightened sensitivity. Many people notice they feel more. Sounds, emotions, atmospheres. Crowds can feel overwhelming. Certain conversations exhausting. At first, this feels like fragility. Later, it reveals itself as clarity. You begin to sense what nourishes you and what drains you, what's aligned and what isn't, often without needing explanations. This is not something to suppress, it's something to learn how to live with. If you recognize yourself in any of this, you're not broken, you're not regressing, and you're not doing awakening the wrong way. This is part of the process. For the awakening exists for people in this space, not to give answers, not to offer beliefs, but to speak honestly about what's actually happening. If this feels familiar, you'll probably know. There's nothing to adopt here, nothing to become, just an invitation to listen and maybe recognize something you've already been living.